Xbox had a developer direct showcase back in January. I'll summarize it for you.
4 players each works to destroy the opponent's team base.
Each with their own unique abilities and form the perfect vampire slaying squad.
Inside the shell of a giant crab.
The game that really caught my eye was Hi-Fi Rush. It's a part hack and slash, part rhythm game hybrid, released a few hours after its announcement. Today, we're talking about Hi-Fi Rush. This game has an experimental PS2 era feel, like when 3D games were not multi-million-dollar expenses that strayed away from taking risks due to the massive impact of a potential flop that costly. It seems not to be made for the sole purpose of rushing out a product for profit, but actually a piece of art that the team was passionate about. Having unlockable alternate outfits, recording hidden dialogue, a post-game area, secret ending, all of that's unnecessary. But it's more content, and that benefits the player. That's something that, I don't know, it's just kind of refreshing to see. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm game that I didn't really get annoyed at, because there are specific rhythm games that are annoying. Oh my god. It's not just a rhythm game though. It feels more action hack and slash for sure. When I play rhythm games, I can totally zone out, think about what groceries I need to pick up this week, and how I should replace my smoke detector so I don't die in a fire. I still totally jam out and vibe playing Hi-Fi Rush, but it requires a fair bit more attention than something like Final Barline or Beat Saber. And just to be clear, I do like rhythm games. I'll play them on handheld, console, wonky peripherals. Here's proof of me enjoying rhythm games. Starting out with Hi-Fi Rush, I wasn't totally on board with the style and world. The good gameplay kept me engaged, and getting around to Rekka, the second boss, I just started vibing with it. I know vibing with it is not the best term to use when trying to explain my feelings clearly, but it's true. I kept playing, and it grew on me. I was happier with the story, appreciated the setting, and enjoyed myself more. The storytelling didn't break any new ground, I wasn't blown away by a strong emotional grasp it had on me, but it was just pure silliness and fun. And that's fine. It knows what it is, and it does it exceedingly well.
What was your plan for this, Peppermint?
I don't know. Fight?
Making the best gameplay experience is important too. So here are a couple of things to consider. The Steam Deck worked fine right off the bat, but docked, it's a different story. It really depends on the TV settings, so make sure you have game mode enabled. Streamer mode is there for anyone who wants to share the videos online and not get copyright nuked. Thanks for including that. 808's metronome can be changed visually to help better distinguish it from the background. The hideout is where you'll set up for missions. You'll be here a lot. First of all, and most importantly, you can pet the cat. You can also play patty cake, check that out. There's a shop to buy upgrades, new attacks, super moves, and perks. Anytime you quit the game, you'll always start back at the hideout, so you can use the shop before hopping back into your last checkpoint with any money you collected. Currency is obtained by playing the game normally and just completing challenges. At first I thought shop prices were a bit high, so that you could still buy some stuff, but there's no way you're going to get close to getting everything in one run. But then at the end of the game, I went over to check on my challenges and accepted all the rewards I had pending, which was every single reward because I never accepted pending rewards. It was a lot of money. So make sure you periodically collect challenge rewards if you feel like you want some extra money.
Oh my god!
You can watch demonstrations of abilities and attacks before you buy them, and also try out new moves in the training room. Some are simple button combinations, others enhanced partner attacks, super moves that distract enemies, or even getting your health back when performing a parry. You can sell back abilities you purchased if you end up not using them too much or they just don't work for your playstyle. There are a good variety of ways to build out your kit while going through the game. I focused on upgrading my assist characters and saving to increase the maximum amount of chips I can equip. The combat is very interesting. All attacks, enemies, or your own must be timed to the beat of the song. You have 808, the cat, acting as a metronome to help you keep time, and the entire world is bouncing along with the song too. It only takes a couple encounters to get used to it, then you're gonna be in the groove of things. There are heavy and light attacks, super moves, assist summons, a grappling hook, and a variety of new combos and perks from the upgrade shop. Light attacks hit on every beat, and heavies hit on every other beat. This works well for balance and gameplay feel. Combo finishers are done by pressing attack when these circles align, which dishes out a big amount of damage. Even without paying too much attention to visual cues, which are all over the place, it's still pretty simple to keep attacking on beat. Your combos are going to keep going just fine. I would have had zero idea on how to implement tossing in extra notes to the combat. I mean, kind of like a jazzy type thing where everything still sounds good. Kind of like when I toss in extra notes on Parappa 2, but the game says, you know what, that was fire, you're cool as fuck, so you get extra points.
Enjoy the show!
Preempting my dumb idea, the devs implemented the attack Shred. You can buy Shred at the shop, and it has you mash in the middle of a combo to go wild for a second, and that's kind of awesome. Just a small thing, you know, I gotta mention it because it's kind of cool, and the video's not gonna be a short one, so there you go. Like I said earlier, I set my upgrade chips to focus on rapidly summoning friends to help attack. Doing a string of light attacks, then using an assist flows nicely back into another light combo, and then the next party member summon. It feels almost graceful to slide from enemy to enemy, smashing and summoning, then throwing in a dodge when you need to. It was easy to flow with the music and get in the zone. The grapple hook works in the air and on the ground, which adds a bit more fun to the toolkit. My first playthrough on normal was really fun and engaging. I died now and then, but most of the time it was smooth sailing. The difficulty spiked for me when I was introduced to rhythm parry. It took a couple retries to get used to it. At the start, I found the parry timing strict, but doable. As the game went on, I got more confident in tossing out parry instead of dodging. Some stronger enemies have desperation moves that need to be parried. It gives you a second to get ready when the enemy activates a small cutscene, then goes into a pattern that you have to repeat. It's a good way to incorporate a rhythm game aspect into the action-heavy sections of the game. This system is tricky the first time you see it, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty enjoyable. It's possible to nail the blocks and mistime the counter-attack. The enemy is still stunned, so you can still go beat the crap out of them and be like, yeah, I meant to miss that, I just wanted to do this cool combo. But when you do land the counter-attack, it looks sick. There's a good enemy variety in this game, and if dodging an attack or nailing a parry timing gets tricky, there's a training room to practice. Training settings include changing enemy types, showing health, making enemies invincible, granting unlimited super meter, displaying the combos, and potentially, the most helpful, changing the music speed. It reminds me a bit of slowing down a song in a rhythm game to understand the pattern better before you go at it again at full speed. The reverb meter is used when performing a super move. For example, here we have the Hibiki super move, which is absolutely cracked and can wipe out an entire wave of enemies. The item Overcharge Battery restores 2 reverb meter charges, but it disappears after the stage ends. This encourages you to use it on a boss or any other tough encounter. The game wants you to just go for it in fights. Have a good time, don't worry about item stock. It feels more fun to use items as soon as you can to do super moves instead of hoarding them all until you really need them. Then you end up not using them at all. RPG players finishing a game with a full inventory will tell you this is a real fucking problem. A grapple hook works to close in on enemies, but since there's no lock-on, you may not get the correct target. It's also used in platforming areas as a rhythm minigame. It's pretty much just a QTE, but you gotta be grooving. And the thing about... Oh, one second. Did you say there's no lock-on? Yeah, this is a hack-and-slash action game with no lock-on. I couldn't believe it either. The decision seems baffling, but there's no lock-on in this game. There for sure is a bit of soft guidance type lock-on where you attack nearby enemies, but you're not able to lock on to anyone you choose. This would have helped greatly to grapple a specific enemy to get away from an environmental hazard, or just to attack someone specifically because they're causing you the most trouble when you're dealing with a big group. The lack of lock-on led to a few super moves turning Chai around 180 degrees and aiming for a closer but unintended target. Just hit the fucking wrong guy. Lock-on is a way to give more control to the player, and it gives more options to use spaced out super moves instead of having to run right up to the target's face before using your attack. After a few power chord whiffs, I made sure to focus on AoE and support super moves, as a big radius made sure I would hit who I wanted to, and there was no targeting issues when I was using a hologram decoy or healing myself. I see how changing targets can throw someone off rhythm, but I think that using the left stick to run around and evade while pressing a change target button is very doable while maintaining a beat. Like, here's me doing that exact same thing in Kingdom Hearts, changing lock-on targets, evading, and keeping the beat.
You ready?
I know, I'm very cool, thank you. If it was an issue with keeping score for rhythm ranking, the lock-on and changing targets can be excluded from the final letter grade of each combat encounter. I don't know, I feel like that's something to improve upon if there's ever a sequel. Hopefully there is. And not totally related, but I had to say it, finishing an enemy with a heavy attack sends them flying out of the arena and exploding. Each encounter is scored and capped off with a slow-mo final strike. It's unexpectedly cinematic and super stylish. It fits the game perfectly. This game is not content to just be a rhythm hack and slash hybrid, but it also contains a bit of 2D and 3D platforming sections. So there's nothing too wild here. You gotta dodge, jump, double jump, and air dash. That's mostly it, besides some context-sensitive stuff like zip lines and grapple points. The platforming sections also move in time with the beat, so really take in the patterns before going for your jumps. I think the platforming areas are tuned to move hazards to match very well with the default run speed, to keep a sense of rhythm and momentum going. It works for the most part, and when I say for the most part, I mean it's pretty much my own fuckery that got me killed. 3 dodges chained together, and if hit with proper timing of course, is faster than the run speed. I love going fast, it makes me feel competent sometimes. Plus, it's really satisfying to keep the chain going. Those little music notes next to Chai, those pop up when you haven't missed a beat. It'll start with 1, and then they add another, and then you can't break the chain because look at all those cute little notes on the screen. I love those little guys. You can't just break that chain. So that means I keep dodging all over the place instead of running normally and weaving gracefully through the hazards. I was still pressing buttons on the beat, but since it was mostly dodges, I got out of sync with the platform movements. But, you know, I can't help it. My stupid brain wants to take all these jumps and I know I won't make it. Also, on a side note, using light attack stalls Chai in the air for a bit. It usually isn't enough to make a difference, but it saved me once or twice. I'm sure someone with a bigger brain than me can get past all these platforming areas in a very efficient and visually appealing way. Hopefully while explaining it during a speedrun, because that's like the best. Everyone watches those videos, right? The really long speedruns that have like the in-depth explanation. Those are fucking awesome. Here is a platforming section that stood out to me. I would say it's fun and well designed. There are timed switches that activate platforms. It leads into using all 3 partners while on a timer. You gotta be quick on jumps, switching between characters, shooting with peppermint, and nailing the wall break. Failing the wall break minigame is usually not a problem. Just call your buddy and try again. But on a timer, that mistake costs a couple seconds. It just might be the difference between making it through and starting over. If you do start over, it's not far back enough to be annoying, but it's far back enough so that when you do it in one go, it feels rewarding. Plus, it helps that the load time was instant after falling into the pit, so I could try again right away. If you want me to get extremely nitpicky, one time only, Peppermint needed to be in a very specific spot to shoot this large target to progress the level. It was a small enough spot that I was trying different angles and positions to get it working before running right up close and seeing the prompt appear. A couple of times when going back to record some extra footage, I did find this happening again. Peppermint wasn't able to shoot specific targets and it stopped progress completely. I had to restart the level, or Yeah, no, I had to restart the level. There's some pretty decent level variety. Occasional stage hazards mix things up with falling volcanic rocks and electrified floors, all in time with the beat, of course. You can use the grapple hook to avoid hazards, or your super move to heal you and face tank anything that comes your way. Most of the game is fighting areas, and these hazards are kind of in the platforming areas, and also kind of in the fighting areas. Little unnecessary but very appreciated touches of extra care bring a lot of, life into the game. When a partner comes off cooldown and is ready to be called back into the fight, their picture on the meter breaks out of the HUD with a neat little animation. 808 changes color depending on who you have selected as an assist summon. It helps to keep you notified without getting your eyes off the action, and it looks neat. I'm very simple-minded and I like pretty colors, they make me happy. Between waves of enemies, a quick eye-catching cutscene will play. There are quite a lot and I really appreciate them. They seem to be randomized because I've died and reset a bunch just to see if the same one would play, and it changed each time. These are just so slick, I love to see them. After a while, you're gonna see the same ones play out, but they never really got old to me. As for idle animations, Shai is always tapping his foot, snapping his fingers, and moving his body to the beat. Music starts low-key, picks up for combat, and then lowers back in energy when combat ends. That's an appreciated little feature. They didn't need to add that, but it's nice. Mimosa's level has these platforms held up on cables that shift to one side or the other when you walk on them. The bosses in this game have over-the-top personalities, showcased by talking to their robot employees, reading text collectibles, the wild layouts of their sections of the company, and of course appearances in cutscenes and boss battles. The heroes of this game are also very lovable. Shai is caring, hopeful, and thankfully pretty lucky. He has no plan but a lot of perseverance.
You don't even know where this rail goes!
Chill out! It'll be fine!
Peppermint is the smart and competent hacker type.
Whoa! How did you...
Just a bit of temporal displacement. Kinda complicated, not your lingo, but one of 808's hidden features.
Macaron is the gentle giant and occasional mediator of the team.
Why the negative angle? What about trying to reason with her?
The woman who's trying to kill me with lasers?
Well, I got a good feeling. How about that?
And Corsica has a funny accent.
Might there be anyone here who knows how to fix the coffee machine?
I always talk to everyone any chance I got to hear extra dialogue. The cast of good guys has very entertaining moments because they have great chemistry throughout the game. It's nice to see Peppermint and Chai go from reluctantly working together to actually caring about each other. Throughout the game, you find robots talking about their workdays and problems. A lot of the dialogue is pretty silly. Some of the characters become recurring gags, like this robot that spies on his crush is later seen with her, and then they have a "our love is forbidden" kind of speech. But since they're robots, it's like because of TOS or work contracts or something like that. It's kind of funny. Also, I like this guy who's standing next to these breakable stacked boxes. He's like, damn, I did a great job stacking these boxes. So being a fucking villain, I go and smash them all down. And then you talk to him and he's like, I will always have the memories of the great job I did stacking those boxes. That's actually a pretty good one. I was smiling. There was a nose exhale on that one. Also, Smidge, the tutorial robot, did kind of this sign spinning thing. I like that. That's pretty cute. Each boss of the game is in charge of a different section of the company. Every level is chock full of detail reflective of the upcoming boss's personality. You hear the robots talking about their department heads, and a lot of the times it feels like it's coming from the perspective of people that are just so extremely done with working there, and it's very relatable. The level progression was all straightforward. but at one point I came across an option to take a hint of where to go. I think the game caught me walking around aimlessly for too long, and then it was like, hey, you want a hint? And I was like, actually, yes, I was about to look it up on YouTube, so thank you. There are also collectible text logs and murals you'll find through these insane level layouts. I'm talking lasers all over the place, timed platforming puzzles, kept in the factory, because, to quote a text log from marketing, this is so much cooler. Also working around actual lava. This is a certified OSHA violation moment. The bosses pop up and have a few short dialogues, sometimes directly addressing Chai before the boss battle. These usually lean toward the humorous side more than any major plot development. And shout out to the environmental jokes scattered around. This one's a reminder to change your password every 48 minutes. The Volcano R&D area had the main objective become get Zanzo to blow his budget on overcomplicated and cool staging because he's a dork who loves overcomplicated and cool staging. By the time you get to him, he doesn't have enough money to pay for the cool looking boss fight about to go down. So it was kind of funny, but I was let down that there was no actual boss battle at the end. It would have been nice to have a big robot boss fight, but some of the parts of the robot are missing or made from scrap metal. Then you can throw in some jokes like, hey, that's an obvious weak point, this is like a video game cliche. Maybe there's extra armor and no weak points if you don't eat into the budget somehow. I guess it would be similar to the final boss in Breath of the Wild. That changes depending on the number of dungeons you cleared. But guess what? The devs are smart, I'm dumb. They're big, I'm little, they're right, I'm wrong, and there's nothing I can do about it because the giant robot comes back and it's the best feeling, most cinematic set piece in the entire game. Great job on this. We're going to talk about the giant robot later. Platforming is chill for the most part, but sometimes it's a tad annoying. I can kind of compare it to Tick-Tock Clock from Mario 64. You know how everything is always moving around? Well, this is kind of like a rhythm game, so everything's on the move. You know, whenever I was playing Mario 64, I jumped into the clock to stop all the movement inside of it, to have an easier time. Skill issue on my part, I guess, but I was able to manage with these platforming areas just fine. An example of great level design is this area right here. It's tight, straightforward, fun, no time wasted. We go up and around, progressing by fixing these nodes and smashing the button. Then you can jump right back down as a shortcut instead of backtracking the entire way, and we immediately get into more gameplay, parry the laser halls, and then you get into the room with collectibles if you look around for a little bit. Mimosa's stage mixed stuff up with the electrical floor hazards. The following fights featured larger areas, more shock tiles, stronger enemies, and that was awesome. It had me running, jumping, air dodging, summoning, and I was keeping track of the floor pattern too. Even though the electric floor area was hectic, I found it a lot more engaging than the normal fights without hazards. Right off the bat, here are a few songs I particularly liked from the soundtrack. Music taste is subjective, so you can listen to the OST on YouTube and see how you like it for yourself. But if you're impressed when I say I took a music history class in 6th grade and then managed to retain the name Chopin, Beethoven, one of those guys, here are my general feelings on the music. Both the streaming mode soundtrack and the default soundtrack fit the game well. Some tracks were so catchy that even as I paused the game to write this part of the script, I'm still tapping my foot. I found myself keeping beat while navigating menus. Browsing the settings played a drum sound effect, which seemed to encourage that. The music gets really good toward the end, but that was heavily affected by the moment each song played in the story. A lot of extremely memorable video game songs tend to be influenced by major story events. So I'll throw these new jams into the tonal whiplash of my memorable video game music playlist. Yeah, I guess I'll just tuck it in right there between Kingdom Hearts' Dearly Beloved and Hotline Miami's Crystals. Yeah, that's perfect. Despite being very linear, there are plenty of collectibles. Most are easy to find if you take a second to look around a big room, or you find the famous video game hallway that's branching away from where you should be going, usually leading to a treasure and dead end. Finding an upgrade plays a Bill and Ted-esque guitar riff. Golden statues can be destroyed for more money to spend at the shop. Hit them on time with the beat for a bigger reward. You can also find items that increase max health and super meter when you find enough of them. Gathering collectibles or just progressing through the game, you're going to be getting challenges done, which give rewards back at the base. I usually don't go through text log collectibles, but some of these are pretty funny. A couple of them are complaints asking for simpler, more efficient factory layouts. But that would make for less interesting level design. I personally like the floating data nodes, and the complex water generators, all that stuff is sick. Efficiency be damned. Some chests require mashing and then a timed button press. I'm really slow when it comes to mashing, and I had no issue with these. If you want to have a hard time mashing, try the torture mission of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, or Sheva hanging onto the ledge during the final boss of Resident Evil 5. Those button mashing sequences are a great example of... What? Am I doing something wrong? Are you supposed to die here? What is this? But no, you're just supposed to mash like a fucking insane person. Mash like your life depends on it. That has nothing to do with this game, but, you know, here I am talking about it.
You're mine, Mimosa.
This game is filled with flair. It's got a fun, rebellious, and loud attitude. Onomatopoeic effects appear throughout combat. Graphics are cel-shaded, which fits the cartoony tone well, and the game looks great visually. It's gonna hold up long into the future. An update added in a photo mode too, so if you like messing with filters and character poses, then have fun with it. Performing an attack, jump, or dodge on beat shows a visual effect on the HUD. That adds to all the bouncing objects and enemies of the world. A relatively simple addition, but it looks great when you notice it. Cutscenes smoothly transition from in-game 3D graphics into 2D animations. The transition points are always at seemingly perfect times to not notice what happened, and then BAM! The transition points are always at seemingly perfect times to not notice what's happening, and then BAM! You're smacked in the face with this really nice quality.
Gang? What's that? Oh my.
Mission planning cutscenes are made in a comic book type style, which it's comparatively simple, but it still fits in with the tone and it looks nice. Chai shouts the names of super moves when performing them. It's kinda like Dragon Ball or Gurren Lagann, it makes the fights a little more hype. And a quick little aside to notice some cute things. The vacuum robots are the best. Watch this one give me an optional quest.
These pigeons are the source of my discontent. I desire assistance in ridding of them from my cleaning area.
Think you can help out, Peppermint?
The pigeons are the source of his discontent. How are you not going to do something about that? You gotta get rid of that burning discontent. And of course, the cat is adorable too. So much so, you can stun the enemy with cuteness. Look at me. Look in my eyes. Last chance to look at me, Hector. Sometimes, this game is funny. Humor is prevalent enough to the point some of it bleeds over into the upgrades and perk shop. One chip available has a negative effect, and the description states, "This is a test to see if you read the upgrade descriptions." I passed the test. But if you fail, no big deal. Just take the life lesson and move on. It's not a very expensive one anyway. You can shoot a robot chilling in a little floaty donut. Chai and Peppermint actually have voice lines about this. It's kinda random. Going a little bit off track, you're gonna find robots doing silly stuff. There are plenty of jokes in the collectibles, and this one specifically hit me in just the right way. Chai walks in behind this robot, who assumes he's a repairman working for the company. On a computer in the very same room, you'll find an email PSA that says, "Don't let people walk in behind you and then assume they're from the same company." That's a good joke, and it works as an extra reward for those hunting for collectibles. The game doesn't nail every joke, but I did laugh here and there with a good number of smiles and nose exhales thrown in. Sometimes I didn't even laugh, I just said, "That's funny," and I acknowledged that it's a well-written joke. That could be on me though, but people do that, right? They go, Hey, that was funny. Nice job. You did a good job writing that one. Is that a normal thing? Anyway, let me show you this scene. Corsica is falling and Chai does a cool rock star slide to go catch her.
Sorry.
This is what happens if you miss the QuickTime event. It's funny by itself, and the D rank, specifically in the Corsica catch section of the chapter score, that's even better. I love it. That's perfect. So yeah, he carries her off and just dinks her head on the wall. Jesus. What the fuck? That was so real. And then he bonked her head a couple more times, and I guess the timing wasn't as good, but it wasn't that funny. That first time was quite the head bonk though. There's an Easter egg referencing The Evil Within where a robot version of Sebastian gives a few overly dramatic monologues. Nice to see, because I love The Evil Within. I got the second game right after beating the first one, and I was caught off guard by the new voice actors for prominent main characters, and they seem to, just drop the story cliffhanger. I decided to move on for now and play it later. I have yet to get back to it, but it has this joke in it.
It's fucking evil out there. That may be, but there's evil within, too.
So, it must be a good game. And while I'm completely off topic, in Japan The Evil Within is titled Psycho Break. So there's a bit of trivia. Here's a bit of the story. Chai is getting a robot arm. Initially set to be a garbage collector, he's accidentally fused with his MP3 player. Feeling the world moving to the beat of his music, he uses a magnetic trash collecting tool as a scrap guitar to fight off robots trying to recall him. The robot cat 808 syncs up to Chai and serves as a metronome assistant as well as an adorable mascot. Chai joins up with the hacker Peppermint to make a ragtag team to stop the nefarious and excessively corporate plans being done by Kale, current head of Vandalay Technology. If you end up leaving the game for a while and coming back, you spawn in base, so you can catch up on the story by talking to everyone. There are a couple Easter eggs also when you quit the game at a specific time. I'm gonna get into some spoilers here. An example of an Easter egg at home base is quitting the game after Cinnamon loses his legs, and then you see him at base with both legs completely fine. Chai will talk to him, they both acknowledge the continuity error, and they're like, let's not talk about this. It's also possible to destroy an enemy you're supposed to lose to when replaying a level. The characters are concerned about messing up the timeline and decide to just activate the old cutscene anyway. These scenes are easy to miss, but pretty entertaining for those who see it. It makes me happy to know that they went the extra mile just to get a chuckle out of a few players.
Well, this messes everything up.
Do not be afraid. I will activate the cutscene as usual.
The museum level shows the origins of Vandalay. At first, I felt the story explained by staring at an automated museum set piece was not very engaging. I am not a fan of whatever you call the thing where you walk your character around and then watch story flashbacks with characters talking to each other, but it's not a cutscene, you just have to walk up to them and wait for them to explain exposition and whatnot. That kind of weird cutscene was both in Fallout 4 and in Code Vein, and it sucks. Both are fine games, but I'm just not a fan of those parts. After hearing from a few very biased museum displays, Peppermint gets angry and is confirmed to be the daughter of Vandalay's founder, and Kale's sister.
Liar. That's not what happened.
Okay, now I'm more interested, plus we're back to a normal style cutscene. Perfect. Everyone has a power of friendship moment. Chai and Peppermint smile, they're friendly with each other. Touching. We love it.
We got this far because of you. We're all here because of you.
Yeah.
And I'm here fighting because of what you found and what you're trying to stop.
Not to mention Mr. Chai is the one in the most danger.
Well, yeah, there's that, but that's like secondary or something.
Toward the end of the game, the team works together to chase down Kale and take down that giant robot I mentioned earlier. It was my favorite level. This part is so good, in fact, if you close the game and come back, all the characters roast you for killing the momentum and leaving during the coolest part. It's pretty funny and well deserved, honestly. And we'll talk more about the giant robot later. I know I already said that, but we'll talk about more of we'll talk about the giant robot later. Let's go over the bosses. Boss battles vary in difficulty, and a couple have mini-games tossed in for good measure. I was able to figure out what to do immediately and with no confusion. Just dodge the attacks or hit the buttons. It's no problem and it adds a bit of variety. And of course, to have maximum style points, each boss finishes with a climactic cutscene of the finishing move. The first boss, the giant QA robot, is a great intro boss. He's giant, intimidating, but his moves are slow and he telegraphs them pretty well. It's very doable on your first try. The music is great here. I could be saying that for the whole review. And if you really want to, you can come back later when you unlock assists and parry and then just completely bully this guy. Rekka was troublesome, and I felt like it was the first real challenging part of the game. But a few health drops kept me going, and Peppermint's assistance was a great help. The minigame section was fine. I felt like it was put in to hammer home that this is still a rhythm game. Korsica's boss battle emphasizes rhythm over action. It's easy to get into the story here. I really wanted to convince her to join us, and the dialogue was pretty funny. This is a successful mix of cutscenes and a progressively more challenging rhythm game. Nice work. Mimosa's fight was pretty dynamic. You have a standard break the armor and attack during the opening.
Much damage as you can before her dress comes back online.
Then the lights shut off, but the attacks are still clearly indicated. It feels harder, but it's still fair.
Let's raise the stakes and turn down the lights. Right now, that's my breath you're pressing.
All eyes on me, Mimosa.
Then you have a rhythm game section. You get trapped in a cage and have to dodge attacks while summoning your friends to break out. Finally, you have to parry her and then get that climactic ending cutscene. I was able to beat it on my first try, but I cut it pretty close. This boss was really fun and a high point of the gameplay for sure. Before I get into the next boss, let me talk about the lead up to him. Stage 10, titled A Master Plan, has a strong feeling of escalation toward the grand finale. It starts with Chai shooting himself out of a giant cannon into a lunchroom.
Crap.
The music here is phenomenal. A bit better with streamer mode off though. Invaders Must Die is a great song, and Intruder, the Bethesda original copyright-free replacement, does a great job of capturing that same energy.
Ready? What?
No one messes with family cuisine.
Here we go. Okay, that was rough. Even for me.
Rockafort was the hardest boss battle in the game for me. I used summons constantly to chip away at his health. Parrying the flurry attack was really cool, but chasing him around out of wolf form, very annoying. I was caught off guard here at the start of the second phase and this new laser grid attack, but I just barely managed to beat him with a shred of life left. Oh, did I say I beat him? What I meant to say was I died immediately in the third phase.
I put my stock in future, and not yours, kid.
If the second phase was a surprise, then that makes the third phase a fucking jump scare. The final arena is a big room filled with gold that he can actually hide under and swim around in Scrooge McDuck style. You end it with a rhythm game, and that's that. I like the boss, and he's memorable because of the wild robot werewolf design. Each phase has a different arena, and the difficulty had me retrying a couple times. So that'll stick out to me when I'm talking about this game to my friends in like 3 years after I completely forgot everything I said in this script that took me way too long to write. Okay, we're getting to the giant robot, we're so close, here we go. Now let's talk about the best level in the game. Chai was very positive before the final confrontation. It's nice to see him cheer on the team before getting to Kale. There ends up being a my friends are my power moment. You know, like one of those Kingdom Hearts 1 deals. I think he also says it in Dream Drop Distance. Probably verbatim in the original Kingdom Hearts. He says, my friends are my power. I know that's like a trope and it's like in a lot of stuff, like anime games, but you know, my friends are my power. It's always like a really touching, nice moment. And I got really into it. There's a rhythm game part here, and after hitting a few notes, Chai thinks of his friends.
I like this new Chai. He's quite come around, hasn't he?
We're in this together.
It's really sweet, and of course, the only thing he can think of Cinnamon saying is,
I, for one, Mr. Chai, like your pants.
Good enough.
Cue the music. Everyone walks in slow motion, looking cool as hell.
Hey, Kale! We got beef!
Okay, screw this. Do what you need to do, just stop them.
Mission briefing! Team, split up and let's get this jackass.
And they work together as a team to chase down Kale. As Chai progresses through the level, his friends open a path forward for him, and it's just the best. Having characters with a personality who you've come to love drop a bridge or set up a grapple point is way better than just hitting a switch. We're building up to a climax. The music is fantastic, it feels optimistic, and it suits the heroes making their comeback.
Okay, I can see a... What the hell is that?
And now for something you won't get past.
Get out of there, little guy!
Is that Santo's robot?
Looks like Kale put on the final touches.
Like that'll do it.
You're gonna do something, Chai! Do it now!
Hold on. Coming in hot.
Thinking on the fly, the team manages to take off one of the giant robot's arms. Cinnamon uses it to blast him away. Then we have another touching moment.
Cinnamon!
Was I dope, Mr. Chai? That was very dope, Cinnamon.
That's the best thing to say in these moments.
Is messed up.
Oh my god, dude. Holy fuck. Literally the worst thing to do, but it fits the tone of the game perfectly. It's serious, it's about story, but it's not so serious that they won't do that.
This is it.
Let's close the set.
Is this a joke? You think I can't deal with a cat?
Now we get to play as the fucking robot cat, baby. Woo! Let's go!
What a comeback.
What a pain in the ass. You know what? Let's take this outside.
On to Kale. He's not super hard, and it felt good to hit parries with the well-telegraphed attacks.
Dodge this!
Of course, it's a multi-phase boss, but there's nothing too tricky. There's a stun meter above his health, so you know when you have a big opening to attack.
Defect who got lucky. I put in the hard work.
You think I'm winging this? Not anymore.
You're just a bunch of losers.
Maybe so. But together, we're unstoppable.
Chai!
The whole team comes out to gang up on him, and he's toast.
This is just too much work.
A fun final boss. After that, we hit New Game Plus. There's a lot of extra here in the way of post-game content. It's a great deal for a budget game. Beat the game for access to Spectra Door challenge rooms and past levels, even more harder challenge rooms after beating the first ones, appearance customization, the Rhythm Tower, a timed challenge mode, a new difficulty, Rhythm Master, which increases the focus on matching the beat. If Rhythm falls to D rank, it's game over. And a secret ending too. Hey, guess what? It took me forever to make this video, and guess what else? They added a bunch more shit for free. Thank you. The new free update adds BPM Rush and Power Up, Tower Up. So BPM Rush, you fight a bunch of waves of enemies, and the BPM is increasing with every wave. It gets really, really fast and pretty hectic. I had a lot of fun with that one. And then Power Up, Tower Up, kind of a roguelike type deal. You can see what enemies you're going to fight for the next wave and choose if you're going to take a power up or you're going to do a challenge wave. You want to take no power up and increase your score. And you start pretty weak, but you grow over time with all the power ups you choose. And if you die, you can still respawn. I think you just take like a score penalty. And these aren't like trivial little game modes. They're actually good, fun add-ons. Like, thank you. This is really sick. I played New Game Plus on hard mode, and it felt about the same difficulty-wise because I carried over all my upgrades. You can replay any level in any order on any difficulty. That means you can go parry the first boss who's normally fought before you can do that, or do a sweep for all the missing collectibles. If you decide to play a harder difficulty and find yourself in a pinch, you can kill the cute little vacuum robots for money and health, but I will judge you. The Rhythm Tower is a survival mode. Defeat a bunch of waves of enemies until you reach a checkpoint. Then you can leave with your rewards. If you feel confident or are a gambling addict, you can keep going until the next checkpoint. But you risk dying or running out of time, which will lose the stocked up rewards. The Rhythm Tower is not too hard, but bosses get tossed in after a bit. You can stock up on time by hitting perfectly on the beat. Then use extra time to get more health, more super meter, or the mystery box. It only costs 7 seconds, but you might get nothing. There's an option to suspend progress, which is nice if you want to take a break, especially if you're playing on Steam Deck or on your laptop, or you just want to go touch grass for a second. There are 60 floors apparently, and the bosses make an appearance every so often. It's not bad, just not super engaging to me. Survival modes like this usually appeal to me when I can play them co-op. If I have friends, then I love Gears of War Horde mode, or Call of Duty Zombies, or Resident Evil 6 Mercenaries. I love getting a good round in or trying to go for a record when I have buddies with me, but alone, I think I prefer a story mode more than anything else. There are also post-game challenge rooms that ensure you understand the game's mechanics. Each one has a different twist, like defeat enemies without touching the floor, or you can only deal damage after a parry. These do get pretty hard and would greatly benefit from having a quick restart option, especially when trying for S ranks. It's pretty annoying to mess up at the start of a challenge, then have to sit there and intentionally fail to try again. I tried each challenge a couple times, and if I didn't have any luck, I went to see how I could make it easier on myself by changing up my gear. Sometimes I needed to get more super meter after a parry or combo. Sometimes I needed to buff my friends because I could only get kills with summons. If you never experimented with a shop and perks in depth, this is going to be the best time to do so. There are 16 Spectra doors in total, some easy, some annoying. Finishing them all unlocks the ability to see enemy health bars. This would have helped so much during the last challenge to know when to do the partner attack so I can get a guaranteed kill to count towards the objective.
Now? After my epic fight?
Well, think of it as a reward.
There's also a secret ending. If you don't want to hear it, 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna spoil it, get ready.
Alright, what do I do now?
Backup Spectra protocol activated. Oh, thank you, Chai.
Kale?
Did he?
The AI is literally a replica of Kale?
Recompiling wireless access code. Thanks for doing the heavy lifting.
Kale is restored as an AI. He will continue to do evil stuff.
And now, the cogs of my master plan are in motion as I prepare.
A clean floor is a healthy floor.
I handled it again, everyone. Did what I do best. Improvise.
Chai, we saw the whole thing through 808. You didn't do anything.
Mr. Chai, did you forget all the lessons you learned from our journey together?
He's still a work in progress.
But he gets disconnected by a cute little cleaning robot. Chai prevents future evil plans with this sticky note. Nice extra cutscene and joke as a completion reward for those who liked the game enough to go further after beating the story. This was a good note to end on, open for a sequel, but it retains the humorous tone. The main gameplay loop of rhythm combat is just as novel as it is fun. There's a good chunk of platforming, but it's by no means the focus of the game. Just like the combat, the platforming is competently made. With no lock-on, it's possible to whiff some supers and focus on the wrong guy, but it doesn't keep me from wanting to keep playing this game even after getting the secret ending. There's a lot of extra costumes and upgrades. I had a great time with all the bosses and went out of my way to hear extra dialogue. The style is loud, over the top, but those who are into it are gonna love it. Music selection fits each level well, but of course, it's subject to preference. The writing is well done, pretty funny at times. Hi-Fi Rush, it's a good vibes experience. I can enjoy it in my free time, really just chill. I can see myself revisiting Chai and his friends a few years down the line. Hopefully in a sequel. Okay, that's it. I'm done recording, I think, unless I have to go back and record more, but thank you. Thank you for watching. This has been a pain in my ass to record. I think it's going to be the longest video I've ever made. I did not intend for it to be the longest video I've ever made. I thought Hi-Fi Rush was going to be a short game, and it kind of is, but I had a lot to say about it, and I just wanted to say everything I wanted to say about it, except for the stuff I cut out. But hopefully it's good. Hopefully people watch it, and hopefully they like it. And if they don't like it, maybe they can just watch it on the side while they're like cleaning their room or something. That's good too. I'll take that. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you for being here, and I guess I'll get around to working on the next one. See ya.